All right. Welcome back, everyone. The final run of the night. We have CaptainEzekiel running Resident Evil 7 Madhouse. Zeke, take it away.
Thanks, Amy. What's up, everybody? I'm CaptainEzekiel, and like Amy said, we're going to be running RE7. We'll be running Madhouse New Game, and I'll explain in a moment everything what that means. But I have two very special people with me, two great commentators and friends. I have Niddle and Catlink. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys.
For quite a long time, so I'm very hyped.
Hey everybody, I'm Yiddle. I do a lot of this game, a lot of knife-only shenanigans, and Zeke is actually the best, unequivocally.
The best.
At this game, so you're in for a treat.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that. No pressure. No pressure or anything, guys. All right, so we're gonna start and then we'll explain everything. So timer starts when I confirm after this OK screen. So on go. So 3, 2, 1, go. Thank you. This, guys, is RE7. That's Mia. We love Mia.
Hi,
Isan
Mia.
Genki. If you've ever watched an RE7 speedrunner, they probably said that at some point in their life, not in a happy way because we hear it every time we reset, but you're probably wondering why it's in Japanese. I'm just going to explain it right away. Japanese saves a little bit of time off the run, and by little, I mean a very little. It's half a second, and I've just been using it for 4 years, so that's why I still play in Japanese. I don't really need to, but I'm kind of used to it by now, so that's why it's in Japanese. So now you know.
Yeah, a lot of us rely on sound cues, and oftentimes it's tied to voice dialogue. So when we switch between, English, Japanese, German, whatever, it can really mess us up in a run. So we really rely on just sticking to one voice or one, language.
Yeah, it definitely changes a lot of things. Not even just like the lines, but like the timings of the lines change when you switch languages. So it definitely is more of like helps us remember certain cues and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Also, so new game Madhouse, guys. So what's Madhouse? So there are 3 difficulties in RE7: easy, normal, and Madhouse. Easy and Madhouse are the 2 that are speed ran, and the differences between them is pretty enormous. So with Madhouse in RE7, they introduced a new mechanic to the hardest difficulty, which is the route of the game actually changes. We have different places of key items. The way we go about the game changes. Ammo drops are different. Damage values are lower from us, Ethan, the player, and damage values are higher from the enemies. So the game gets really fun and actually really hectic very fast. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that if you've never seen a Madhouse run, if you've only ever seen like an easy run, it's going to look very different. Also, new game. New game is basically self-explanatory. It's just a new game. We do not use new game plus items, no infinite ammo, no Albert. We instead use what the game gives us, which is actually better, which is the shotgun in this game is actually amazing. And I know Kat and Niddle are also fans of running new game. Yeah. We love that shotgun because it's so good.
Love the shotgun.
It's a great
and
shotgun.
To be specific, the broken shotgun, not the other one. No, the broken one. That one's just crazy good. Another thing with Madhouse is that, at least with new game anyways, there is quite a bit of RNG that Zeke's going to have to deal with over time, compared to something like New Game Plus, where there's not as much RNG. It's just a lot of ammo drops, health drops. You'll see over time.
Mm-hmm. And
also worth mentioning in Madhouse, there are very few to almost no checkpoints. So there are going to be some safety saves just because this is really the hardest category that you can do. And we're definitely going to be playing it a little safe, but
they are kind of a must.
It's still a very risky category, even safe.
Yeah, the checkpoints are very spread out, and you'll see when, like, we'll probably mention when the checkpoints happen, but yeah, if you die in this run, it's basically you go back to a really long before point, and we don't want to do that, so safety saves are a must.
Yeah, to give it an idea of what that is, here in Guest House, there are 3 checkpoints, which is actually the half of the available checkpoints until the last part of the game, so... If that gives you an idea of how many there are available in the run, they give you a couple in here, which is Guest House, and we got a lot to say about Guest House, so like, I know you guys are excited.
I love this place.
So this is Guest House. I'm going to do the first retry if you guys want to explain what we do retries for.
Yeah, so retries. Basically, a lot of retries in this game. They do a few different things. So a lot of times they'll either give us a speed boost, like here. It gives them like a little bit of a speed boost. It might not be noticeable, but when you go from not retrying to retrying in this part, you definitely notice it. And other parts will just put you ahead a little bit further. I believe I think there's another retry that just skips animations and stuff like that. So, yeah. You'll see retries very minimally in a Madhouse run, but on easy, you'd see it quite a bit.
Yeah, and on easy, we have about 9 that we do. On Madhouse, we actually have like 4, I think, maximum, that we actually do. Also, we just did an FPS change. If Niddle, you want to explain how FPS changes work?
Yeah, so you're going to see a few FPS swaps throughout the run, and the best way to explain it is that when we drop to 30 FPS, it's like Ethan gets very slippery, so his hitbox can slide past things a lot easier. So we did it there to squeeze through the door a little bit easier. There's a few other spots where we'll do it to get past enemies faster, and it's, you know, obviously we usually want the highest possible FPS that we can manage without crashing the game. But there are instances where we're going to drop to 30 FPS just to pull off some tricks.
Yeah. Very important, especially in Madhouse.
Yeah.
There's actually a decent question in chat. So we play the game on like the lowest graphic settings because we do want a very high FPS, specifically for a couple boss fights we're going to be doing very soon. So we play it on the lowest settings just so we can get that FPS output, but for the most part, you get used to it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, like, it looks jarring at first, especially if you're used to playing it casually, because the game is not this bright, the game is not this pixelated. It's actually, especially on the new patch that they just released the other month, the game is actually very, like, nice. It looks really spooky, very dark, very gritty. But for speedrunning, we care about literally none of that, and we never will. So that's why we play on these kind of settings. It really makes it easier. There's a couple things that just happened that may have not been noticed. First of all, if you've never watched a speedrun of this, you probably saw that we didn't get jump scared by Andre in the water. It's because if you can't see it, it can't hurt you. So we look at the wall and we strafe past it, and for some reason, it just doesn't bother us. So that's why that skipped. There's another little tech that I will mention, and it won't be very noticeable, but I guess it's good that you know what I'm doing. It's called walk tech. You'll see later in the game I will be aiming to pick up items, certain key items. The reason for this is that Ethan will, if you're sprinting while you pick up an item, Ethan will stop to confirm the item. If you're, however, walking, it won't do that. The way we found a way to combat this, we actually just discovered this last year. If you aim, it puts Ethan into walk, or if you double bind crouch, which will basically, if I'm sprinting and I press a button at the same time, I start walking. We use that as a way to also do it. So you'll see me like come to a little slowdown before picking up certain items, and then I'll speed back up. It's better than the alternative, which is I will just stop instead.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should also talk about the inventory real quick while we have time.
The best menu in the RE franchise.
Absolutely, in the biz. The RE7 inventory is actually goated. So you may notice when we have our inventory up, it doesn't stop the action. So we can use downtime to sort out any inventory that we need to. And also, it keeps the cursor on the last spot that we left it, which is a little bit different from like the RE2R inventory, which always puts you back at the first spot. So we're going to do that to basically set ourselves up in advance for various inventory swaps. And you're going to notice there's a lot of small sections, and Zeke does it so fast, it's like really thoroughly impressive. But that's because he knows where every item is, for the most part, going to land. And even if there's something that's a little weird, he knows it'll land in the next available spot. So we can do that Tetris minigame pretty dang quick.
Mm-hmm. And that's a very big part about this run in general, not even just specifically this category, but every category, is how fast you can menu, because the menu is open in real time. Like, the game doesn't pause, which is unique to only a handful of RE games. Village does not have that same benefit, RE8. But RE7, the game continues to run. So we use what downtime we get to go into our inventory and set it up. In this category, it is the most detrimental because we have a lot of stuff to pick up. This is new game Madhouse. The game doesn't want to give us stuff, so we have to get a lot of what we do get. And the inventory gets really messy. So you'll see me go in, move stuff around very fast, combine very fast, hopefully very fast. And you'll see why it gets out of hand pretty quickly.
Yeah. inventory in Madhouse is just so tight, and you have very minimal space, but you have to pick up so many items with it, like healing, ammo, stuff like that. So it gets very chaotic in small spaces where you don't have a lot of time. You'll see in a bit.
And also, if you're wondering, like, we're talking about a lot of stuff, but what's going on in the game? Nothing, actually. This is the biggest downside, I would say, for me personally, of RE7. It's a fantastic, amazing Resident Evil speed game, and speed game in general. This is a bummer. Guest House is a little bit of a bummer, because we have to walk behind Mia for 5 minutes. Now it picks back up. We're actually about to enter some combat in a moment, and I will let, obviously, my amazing commentators talk about what's going to happen after I wake Mia up, because this is Madhouse. Would you believe me if I told you one of the hardest boss fights, if not the hardest boss fight, is literally at the start of the game? Because that's what's going to happen very shortly after some fun.
You're going to do great. Two hit, just like in practice.
Yeah, exactly. Just like in practice.
Yeah.
It's going to go swimmingly.
So,
so you do take a lot of damage in this run. And Niddle, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so our wife is stabbing us kind of in the face, and in easy, this doesn't really do much to you. It does hurt you, but it's very artificial, and you don't really have to worry about it. In Madhouse, we're basically one hit away from death, and so you're gonna see Zeke as soon as this cutscene ends. He's gonna run to the bathroom and grab 2 heals there, and he's gonna use both. And that won't even actually put him at full health. It'll put him pretty close. So heals do the same thing that they normally would in easy. However, damage is amplified pretty drastically from enemies, and we do less damage. Like, I want to say 75% less, somewhere about. So just dipping in here, gonna grab the 2 heals, and then he's gonna set up to try and wake Mia up. The lineup for this is usually really easy on easy difficulty. In Madhouse, he kind of has to just like wing it. Easy though, first try.
Yeah, and we have the so going back to the high frame rate from earlier. This is basically why we want it, because the axe at high frame rate acts as if you're hitting her more than once. You can kind of hear the sound of like the so that means it's just hitting her multiple times, and that's exactly what we want to get her down as quickly as possible. Very nice, by the way.
Yeah.
These fights get out of control very fast. Getting a 3 hit is very good. On Madhouse, that fight can escalate to like dying very quickly, because as you can see, I got hit 1 time and now there's blood on my screen. And you'll hear me talk about having blood on my screen a bit, because it actually affects me a lot in this run. Not only puts me closer to death, but it also influences what items I can get in the run. That Mia, significantly easier than the next one. Mia 2, that's going to come up, is awful. Like, she's awful and horrible, and it is not fun. On like easy, much better. But on Madhouse, to explain how Resident Evil difficulties work, usually when you go higher in difficulties, what actually increases is something called DA. It's called difficulty adjustment. It's basically just a ranking system of if you do better, the game's harder. If you do worse, the game's easier. Typically, when you play on hardest difficulties, however, it maxes out and it stays maxed out. The thing about that is that enemy health pools don't actually change. A common misconception is that bosses get tankier, but they really don't. You just get weaker. However, an exception to that, for some reason, is Mia 2. Mia 2 is the only boss in this game that has more health on Madhouse, and it's by like 300, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when your damage is nerfed by 75%, it's actually a lot. So we struggle with this fight coming up, because if she hits us twice, we will die.
Yeah.
Sarah D. I don't think we mentioned.
Oh, yeah, Sarah D. We keep forgetting that. We're so used to Sarah D that it's just something that goes right over our heads.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know what Sarah D is, it is the Japanese censored version, which essentially saves us about 23 or so seconds, just because it cuts out animations. It cuts out a lot of the gore. So save the limbs, save the time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you'll see different things like this. You're also about to see the screen go black. Ethan will actually keep his arm. That gives you kind of an idea of how the censorship works in this. So I'll I kind of let these two explain, or one of them explain Mia 2. I'm going to make a safety save, because if we do die here, we go back all the way to before this cutscene, which I will not let happen. So we are going to make a save and pick up a safety heal for the sake of marathon. You'll see me do a couple safety things For the boss strats, there will not be safety strats. For the most part, it's simply just safety saves and a safety heal to make sure the game doesn't completely ruin us.
Yeah. So for Mia 2, it's a lot like Mia 1, where we need the high frame rate to be able to use the axe for maximum damage, because again, one axe throw can be equal to, like, I don't know, like 10 plus axe hits. So essentially, we're going to be aiming for a spot specifically to hit her at first, and then we're just going to keep trying to get the multiple axe hits at once. So let's see how that goes. Hopefully she's nice. Oh, she's being a little bit of a pain. So usually if she does this, we want to make sure that she's not facing towards us, because she can get a little messy.
Yeah. There is a mechanic where you can stun her with headshots. So you see Zeke kind of like just wailing on her head.
Yeah. So this is basically to keep her facing away, because if she does face towards us, it does end pretty poorly, unfortunately. But thankfully, we made a safety save, so it's all
Mia
good.
2 is like so painful. That first hit I did was not thick enough. It was like just too weak, and so she didn't actually stagger the way that we did want her to. And I forgot to pick up this heal, so that's actually my fault. But it's okay. Mia 2 is like that in Madhouse, and that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, genuinely the hardest fight of this difficulty.
Literally.
Yeah.
So you give it so little
I've been-
to deal with it.
Yeah. I recently been de-rusting this, and honestly, Mia 2 is no joke. She, on Madhouse, she is just the worst thing. Oh, that was better. There we go. And the only thing we use for this fight is the axe. There is a gun available that we could use, but it's just faster to use the axe at the end of the day. And there we go. That's Mia 2.
Yeah, that time a lot better. I should have,
First try.
the problem with that fight is, like, your damage is so reduced. Like, when she killed me the first time, she was actually probably very close to being dead, but Mia has an execution that she does when you're at low health. It sucks, but not uncommon to die to her. And I'll be honest, if that's kind of what I was expecting for Marathon's sake, is to have a situation with Mia, but it's totally fine. And now we get to welcome to the family.
Yeah. Welcome to the family, son. Yeah, so this is a big reason why Zeke will be doing a lot of safety saves. It's just because sometimes the game just doesn't give us what we want, and we just got to retry the fight or retry to get a specific item, because that's just the luck of the draw, really.
Yeah. And then the nature of this speed run is, like, in that situation, Mia, like, I didn't get enough of a good first hit, which it kind of dictates how the rest of it's going to go. So when you get that first hit that's weak, you're kind of at a massive disadvantage, and you're like, in terms of like speed run, like for me, I would have reset when I hit that hit and she not staggered the way I needed her to, and she didn't take enough damage. It was over, because I know she's about to start like beating me down, and Mia is like completely unfair because she'll like spin around in the middle of an attack and hit you, and there's just not much you can really do. But honestly, not bad. That second fight was a lot better, so I'm okay with that. But now you would think that you would think that like after such an adrenaline-inducing fight, as scary as it is, that it would maybe calm down a little bit, but it doesn't. We're at like the most infamous cutscene in all of Resident Evil, in my opinion. I think this is one of the most iconic cutscenes of any cutscene in the franchise, other than maybe Chris punching a boulder. We have the family, right? This is where you get introduced to the whole family, to all the fun people we're gonna have fun, quote unquote, with during this run. From left to right, we have Grandma. She's not important. Don't worry about her. We got Lucas. He's a guy, I guess. Lucas is great. You'll see more about him later. But this guy right here, this beautiful yellow button-up wearing man, is going to cause us so many problems. It's hard to explain all of them. Jack Baker, and then Marguerite Baker, the Baker family, if you will. The problem with Madhouse that we didn't really touch on is that not only is everything stronger and hits way harder, they're also fast. And it's not like a little bit faster. It is.
It's like NASCAR.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense how fast everything is. Like, you will see in the hallway here how fast this man is, Jack Baker. So I'll let them talk about hallway, because you'll notice a lot in this run. I'm gonna let my commentators, because they're very smart and they know what they're talking about, talk about the fights so that I can focus on not dying. It's gonna be a big part of it. So we're about to do hallway. So it's all you guys.
Alrighty. So yeah, hallway is probably the most infamous reset point in this speed run. Easy, madhouse, you name it. Everybody has the worst time in this hallway. It can just be absolutely tense. Essentially what Zeke is going to be doing, he's going to be going into the hallway and trying to avoid Jack while also grabbing a key to go touch a door. The door touch will be, we'll mention it a little bit later, but we're basically trying to get out of this hallway as quickly as possible without Jack doing us dirty with grabbing us or hitting us. And that can be quite rough, especially with the speed that Jack goes at and how fast he can creep up behind you. Okay, we got the overhead swing. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, we're out of the hallway now.
He goes into those swing animations so fast. So you saw Zeke turn around really quick at the hallway. He was trying to get wall skip. Basically, you can force Jack to bust through this wall in the room that we're in, and it creates a little shortcut both for now and for later. But Jack actually didn't follow us here, which is kind of nice.
Very rare. I was actually
nice.
I will say I didn't actually try to wall skip there because I assumed Jack had been fast enough. I was actually turning around to push Jack back. If you turn around and look at Jack, he'll actually teleport backwards. But he wasn't. He didn't follow. I thought for sure he would have. I could have wall skipped there for free.
I'm actually very surprised he didn't follow, because on Madhouse he follows you into that room real fast. Oh, nice cheater skip. So yeah, Jack will he's just like, if you don't look at him while you're running away, he will creep up behind you in an instant. It's kind of ridiculous. So when you go into that room, you have a really likely chance of getting your leg chopped off. Thankfully that didn't happen, but when it happens, it's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
So going back to that door touch. So the reason why Zeke went to go touch the door is to actually activate a cutscene right here with the cop. So he's going to go into the kitchen real quick, activate the cutscene, and he's going to go grab a coin because we're going to be using that later.
Yeah, so a difference in Easy versus Madhouse is we actually have access to a few key items early. However, we need to use coins. Well, actually, really only one, the Scorpion Key. But we need to use these coins that we can find throughout the house to do that. So basically, we're going to be finding the earliest 3 coins that we can get, and then immediately just dumping those to get the Scorpion Key. Which actually we won't use until after Jack 2 because of another skip that Zeke's going to do. So right now we're getting the pocket knife. Not going to really serve much purpose for us here in Madhouse.
Not in Madhouse, at least.
But
it will serve us a purpose of breaking open one box and cutting open a piece of tape, and that's pretty much all we'll use that knife for.
Yeah.
I'll say, all things considered, that was a really good hallway. Not dying.
Yeah, that was actually
getting hit
decent.
twice was a pretty it's a shame I didn't get to show you guys how fast Jack was because he just decided to AFK. But Jack is a fast boy.
Yeah. Usually he's on your butt in that hallway, but for some reason he decided to be nice, which is quite odd for a marathon run. Usually it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, you saw what Mia did to me.
Also, that hallway grab is that first grab that Jack did is pretty much near instant. There's not really anything you blocking it's not really an option there because you're trying to get around him. So it's almost unavoidable, but all things considered, pretty good. We got a pocket knife.
Pocket knife.
We got a pocket knife, and we broke open that box because Zeke's gonna be grabbing the ammo out of that box and opening up this tape. And now we're gonna be getting into Jack 1. And Jack 1's not too rough of a fight, but it can be quite chaotic.
When you get the box, bless. Unlucky.
Yeah,
No ghost box.
Well, it did move, but it didn't throw itself.
Okay, hoping Jack doesn't touch me.
Yeah. So the basics here is we're gonna walk past Deputy Shovel, RIP, and we're gonna grab a gun really quick, and then you're gonna see Zeke kind of travel around the room. He's gonna grab a few things, open up a locker, and he's gonna head back to this box, which actually has the car key in it. So we need to get the car key because otherwise getting Jack into the next phase in Madhouse is almost impossible. So we're gonna get into the car, which forces him to then get into the car. There we go. Nice.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a couple of knife slashes, and then we're going to be shooting him 7 times with the G17 to end the fight. And that's it.
Yeah,
that's Jack 1 on Madhouse. It's not. It looks easy, but I promise you, it's really not.
Yeah, there's a lot of timing that sort of goes into, especially the last shot, because Jack and a lot of other things in this game have iframes. So we have to avoid hitting him when he's in iframes. Otherwise, we basically just do no damage, and it doesn't end the fight, and he continues to drive around like a madman.
Yeah, there's a little bit.
That was really good.
Thank you. There's a little bit of RNG to the start of that fight. 90% of the time, Jack will actually chase after me with the shovel, but I heard him not do the first swing. That's why you saw me turn and cut the line next to Jack, because it actually was safer. Because Jack was gonna wait, and he was gonna grab the shovel when I was at the box later, and he would actually caught me. So taking the tighter line there, I kind of had to adapt to it on the fly. Saved me from probably dying, if I had to be honest.
Yeah. So here's our second coin. We're going to be collecting the third coin in a little bit. But yeah, that was a really good fight.
Yeah, Jack won.
Thankfully, not as stressful as Mia 2. Thankfully.
Yeah. Jack won a bit of a pushover. It may look like on Madhouse, but he will kill you just as any other boss. But I will say, of all the bosses, he is the easiest. But do not get confused. It does not get any easier. It does not stay that way. We're going to make a save here just for the sake of safety.
Just to mention, the only checkpoint we've really encountered since Guest House is the one at the dinner table. So from this point on, basically all the way through till we get to Lucas, at any point, if you were to die, you would go back to the dinner table.
Yep. Even if you go through all of Marguerite, Old House, all of that, no, you go straight back to the dinner table if you don't reach that Lucas TV. It's really unfortunate, and that's why safety saves are just so important when it comes to Madhouse marathon runs. You cannot take a chance. But now we're going to be getting into the out of bounds here.
Yeah, so the Madhouse out of bounds is super quick because of how fast you saw Jack just kind of flying up the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
So we're basically just going to bait him up and then do a kneecap and then wait for Jack to throw us out.
And then magic. Yeah, so
Boom.
This is the only out of bounds we'll be doing, Zeke will be doing throughout the entirety of the run. This is the only skip that we do. It's basically just to get a red key card early. It doesn't save a crazy amount of time like you think it would, but it does save a lot of headache.
Yeah, there would be a section where theoretically, if we didn't get this early, we would have to come back down here. And when we do come back down here, there's a ton of enemies. So we're just kind of bypassing that by getting this early and also saving a little bit of movement time, just having to go back downstairs and back upstairs.
Yeah, the out of bounds used to not actually be used in any other category other than easy. So I came over and started routing this. What I'm doing right now is making another safety save because we're about to encounter some RNG. But the reason for that is to save us from an ammo issue that we would otherwise run into by getting that enhanced ammo early. So it's why I necessarily do it is so that we can avoid some RNG. But right now we're about to break a couple boxes. If these boxes do not give me what I want, or if we get cheap shot and die, that's why that safety save is there. The RNG that causes me to reset, there's literally nothing I can do about it. It's kind of built into how the game operates. We're hoping this drops 12 handgun ammo. If it does not, we will retry and do it again because we can't do it without it.
Yeah, and this category does have a lot of that issue where if you don't get the specific item that you need, you will have to either reset or just retry until you get that item, which most cases is just going to be a reset.
Yeah, like we just got ammo there, which is good, but unfortunately there's another one we have to get. And we also hope we don't get cheap shot. It would be nice. And that shot is to bait a crawler on the other side of the room. Hopefully I did it right. We're slowing the game down by going to 30 to keep him away from me. And it sounds like he got stuck over there, which is good. We just do not want to get hit.
Nice. Yeah, the crawlers in this game are very brutal. If they do hit you, they basically hit you twice most times, which is not ideal.
All right, RNG was in our favor.
Nice.
Nice, heck yeah. All right, it's time for Jack 2.
So Zeke needed 15 normal and 15 enhanced G17 ammo, and you'll see he's gonna dump most of that ammo, most of that enhanced ammo directly into Jack, and then he's just gonna finish up the fight with the chainsaw. Basically, he can miss a shot, but he can't miss two. Missing two is pretty much game over.
Yeah,
So
and we go into the 30 FPS as well, just so that way we can get more damage input than we normally would, because on higher frame rate it does it can not do enough damage, so we do that.
Nice. Very nice, dude.
Oh, this fight is the reason this fight is so stressful is it's not even the most stressful, and that sucks to talk about, but like, it's a stressful fight because I have to shoot fast. The G17 is not exactly the most accurate weapon in the game, I'll be quite honest with you. So I have to shoot Jack's head, and it has to be his head, and if I miss, Jack goes into an insta-kill animation in phase 2. And there's nothing you can do if you get touched by it. So the fight gets off rails super fast. But that right there was about as perfect as it can go. So I'm very happy with that.
Yeah.
Quick shots, by the way, are a thing you'll see him do with the G17. Basically, you can aim down sights and stop aiming down sights to just get shots off a little faster, and there's kind of a rhythm to it. Zeke is actually really good at it. I'm awful.
Yeah, we do. We also do that trick on New Game Easy. It just helps us have a larger window to be able to do those quick shots, because if we don't, like, you can do it without the frame rate trick. However,
The doorman was on like overtime apparently, dude.
He was. I was a little worrisome.
Yeah.
Sometimes he gets stuck behind the door, but that time he wasn't.
We said it, but we never talked about what it is. Cheap shots. And why these are the worst things in Madhouse. It's actually the worst part about Madhouse, I would say. To kind of explain what cheap shots are, they exist in all difficulties of Resident Evil, but for some reason they're much more frequent the higher your DA is. So easy, they're not very frequent. Normal, they happen sometimes. In Madhouse, they happen a lot. And what is a cheap shot? Basically, when you're in the range of an enemy, a molded, they will want to hit you, and they'll start like an animation to hit you. However, when a cheap shot occurs, we don't know why it happens. They'll actually just hit you instantly with no wind up and no way to stop it. There's nothing you can do. You take no stagger. You don't get hit like a normal hit, but you take full damage. What's even worse about this is it will multi-hit. So there are situations in which you will be walking around full of health, feeling like you're really cool. A molded will cheap shot you 4 times and you will instantly die.
Yeah, like I mentioned with the crawlers earlier, like how when they hit you, it's likely going to be a double hit. It's like that with a lot of the molded in this game. Usually, most cases, it's one shot, but when you get the double shot from one hit, it's the worst feeling, especially on Madhouse. You go straight into critical and you're crying.
Yeah, it is not fun.
But so far, that was good first part of Main House.
Yeah, Main House went pretty well. I mean, definitely I think Main House went very well, like in comparison. I'm gonna have to do some quick menuing really fast.
No problem. So as you saw, Zeke got the repair kit for the shotgun, because the broken shotgun's just the best shotgun in the game, and if you don't use it, then it's just silly on New Game. But yeah, and we also get the grenade launcher early, which is super nice. It's only a Madhouse thing. You do not get the grenade launcher early on. You can get it early on Easy. However, it's more of a hassle and out of the way. So it's nice that, on Madhouse, it's just right there for you, which is super helpful throughout the run.
Yeah, it's incredibly useful. Definitely an old house, which is I'm glad they gave it to us. I'll also be making another safety safe here before the old house. I'll make one in the old house, and then another right before the March fight. The old house is where the biggest crux of the run is. So that RNG you saw me do before Jack 2 is usually in my favor most of the time. However, in this situation, we are not allowed to kill Marguerite without a certain amount of shotgun ammo, but going into the fight, which is 12. If we don't get it, we're doomed. It's sad. So I'll make a save to hopefully circumvent that and get rid of our key and our knife also.
Good old save. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
I know it might not look very fast, guys, but I rest assured if I died, it would seem even slower to watch me go all the way back to the dinner cutscene.
We would go like an hour overestimate. It's fine.
We don't want to keep Amy awake that long, so we definitely need to not be doing that. So, but we're set up perfectly right now, as I normally would. Ammo-wise, everything's going great so far. So now it's time for Old House and Marguerite, who we all love. I think Marguerite is like an amazing character in this game, and she's super terrifying and super morbid. And if you think she's gross based on certain elements I change about her later, we get up close and personal on this category with it, so it's going to be even more disgusting.
Yeah. So this is where we mentioned that the grenade launcher just becomes so useful, where we can explode 2 nests at the same time, because those nests do get in the way. So we try to get them out of the way with the grenade launcher, and then also using it for that door. Usually the game would not let us through that door, but with the grenade launcher, it allows us to kill the spiders and just carry on as normal. Let's see what we get in this box real quick.
That first aid is actually good.
Go. Nice.
Getting that first aid sets up our inventory, and it allows us to skew a drop in our favor. We can make another save here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the materials to craft another heal. The reason for that is we're trying to trick the game into thinking we don't need healing items. We picked up a healing item, we're nearly full health, we're going to use a healing item soon, and when we do, we're going to be breaking some boxes before March 2, which will hopefully be like, hey, this guy has full health, he has a heal in his inventory, he's a god gamer, let's just give him some ammo. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Zeke before the run, and I was like, so do you have any like backup ammo you can run and grab? And he was like, no, there is no backup ammo in Madhouse. You just, if you don't have the ammo to do it, you just gotta retry and go again, you know?
Yeah, and at speedrun sets, it's very painful. What we're hoping is this box right here drops us 5 shotgun shells.
Let's go, shotgun.
Handgun ammo, which isn't the worst.
Handgun.
We can still be saved by the boxes before March 2, but we'll have to be. But we do need handgun ammo. It's not that like, we didn't need it, but shotgun ammo would have guaranteed we don't have to like super rely on the RNG. But now we're definitely we're at slots.
Crossing our fingers. Yeah. Yeah, and the RNG for ammo can be quite saddening when you don't get what you want, especially when your run relies on, oh, I'm going to open up this box and, oh.
Yeah, definitely super painful. It's not, like, we need all types of ammo, but as long as it's not, like, heals we're getting spammed with, it can be fine, for the most part. But when we're doing world record attempts, unfortunately, we have issues where if we don't get the ammo drop, we have to reset even this late into the run. Okay, the bugs are going to join us for this one. I'm gonna hold space so they don't destroy me.
Yeah, these bugs can do quite a bit of damage. Usually what Zeke would want is that those bugs would get stuck on Marge. They did not, so, you know, block for safety, but yeah, that's generally what we would have wanted. Marge can be a little finicky in this section here. All right, we're gonna be coming up to Marge 1. Grab some items before we go.
So far, so good, I will say.
So far, so good. You know what? Besides me and 2, the run's been actually pretty solid.
But now we have the fun parts, which is Marge and Lantern Skip. So I'll let you guys explain Marge 1 while I hopefully don't miss.
Yeah,
so, go ahead, Noodle.
Yeah, March 1 is pretty easy as long as you land your shots, which Zeke always does. He don't
Why
miss.
would you ever say that, man?
So he's gonna be shooting 1 flame round and then a couple shotgun blasts and then finishing her off with the pistol, I believe. So flame round, pistol, shotgun, and that's it.
Don't miss.
I got the order wrong. He truly don't miss.
Well, actually, you got the order right. If you don't mess up the spray, the shotgun has some spraying of the pellets that it has. If you get lucky enough, and you'll do a little bit of extra damage, like the extra pistol shot is only required because she literally lives with like 50 HP. If the shotgun, however, doesn't miss any of its spread, then you're fine, and you'll kill her with just that, which is actually very good.
Yeah. Also, we're coming up to Lantern Skip. This is sort of one of the... it's one of the only real skips that we have that sort of like skips an entire sequence that we're supposed to go through. The game wants us to go upstairs and look at this door and realize that it's like a weighted lock and we need a lantern to open the door. That's very slow. We're speedrunning. We don't do that. So we're going to go down the stairs and you're going to see Zeke look up in the spot where the lantern is supposed to go. And this is going to trick the game into thinking that we are actually upstairs looking at the spot. And so it's going to unblock the door. And afterwards, he is going to jump into the hole, and perfect, dude. And this triggers Marge to run down the hole. There's a few ways that you can mess this setup up, but Zeke don't miss, so he's all good.
You just don't miss. Yeah. Marge can get she can get soft lock there. So if there's some times where you fall down the hole and Marge just gets completely stuck, it's the worst thing because that's basically a retry, reset, you name it. It's not a good time. But thankfully that didn't happen. So now we're gonna be doing a safety save because Marge 2 ain't no joke, and there's gonna be a lot going on in a very, very short amount of time.
We have a big gamble coming up.
Yep, big gamba.
Big gamba.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, safety save for March 2 is just, it needs to happen because we're going to be relying, Zeke's going to be relying on RNG for some boxes coming up here, as well as if March 2 decides to be a little bit of a meanie, you know, it doesn't hurt to have a retry right there instead of, you know, all the way back at the dinner table.
What do we get?
Nope.
Handgun ammo?
Handgun ammo.
Oh.
Yeah.
We did not do the gamba successfully, unfortunately, but we're going to go try again. Thankfully, the boxes do change. So as long as we don't break them open, we're fine. Hopefully we get what we need.
We just need a minimum 5 shotgun ammo drop. I think I got both boxes there. There we go.
Oh, there
Nice.
we go. There it is. Now we got
Perfect.
12. Perfect amount for Marge. So, yeah.
So Marge is going to go quick. He's going to come up the stairs here, and she's going to pop out the window. He's going to go flame round, and then shotgun. This is going to be a big rinse and repeat. You're going to see a lot of flame round, and then shotgun. He's going to come down the stairs and spawn her in the ceiling right here. So by looking down, he was able to manipulate. He actually intentionally missed that shot, so that way she would jump down, and we wouldn't mess up her health pool. He's going to hit her with a flame round.
And he's going to be baiting a lot of the shots that Marge... So Marge will tend to do like a swing. So Zeke will intentionally get her to swing at him so he can walk away and go grab some items. And while the reload is happening, you know, go back and grab the items. Now we're going to be waiting for her to spawn right back up top. Shoot her in the head. Make sure you shoot her in the head, of course. And then basically just rinse, repeat, shoot her as much as you can until she goes.
Yep. So
This is pretty much a solid fight.
yeah, just going to be dumping as much shotgun and flame ammo, just kind of like in the downtime of reloading, just moving away so that way he doesn't get hit, because those attacks really hurt in this difficulty. Final 2 shotgun, and then I think he'll finish her off with
It's all
a pistol.
from here, and there it is.
Boom. Really good
Let's
fight,
go. You don't
Nice.
miss.
dude. He don't miss.
Definitely, one of the grenade shots was a little slow, and I just lit myself up. But it's
I saw
fine.
that.
Thankfully, it hit
That's
it hit
okay.
the thing behind her, which is what we needed. So that is good.
Great
That
March,
was,
too.
that was solid. Heck yeah, dude. That's like the most ideal Marge new game run. Like, it's just the most ideal situation to have because she can get a little tricky. Thankfully, we have a lot of ways to manipulate her and where she spawns and how to bait her and all that stuff. So it's a little bit easier, but trust me, hell, it ain't.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning, the flame rounds, while they're lit, so once Marge is kind of like on fire, they actually do a little bit of damage over time, which can kind of like work in your favor or against it, because if you accidentally phase her too early, it can go a little south. But yeah, so you'll like sort of hear the tick damage whenever he fires a flame round, and that's doing a little bit of damage over time.
Yeah, that fight is scary. I'm gonna check this, see if there's a heal in there. There's not. It's fine. It shouldn't be the end of the world, hopefully. But we will see. That fight, to kind of explain like the missing shot thing. Before, when that fight was originally the lab and that strat was created by Super Zhao Juju, was an old runner. The issue was it was thought to be RNG, whether or not Marge would actually show back up in the ceiling. But I realized when I learned this category that it's actually because we're pushing over the damage threshold, which is 11,500, I think, or 11,000. But you don't have to hit Marge. You don't have to hit her at all to get her to come out of the hole. You just have to shoot at her. So that fake shot kind of seals that fight together and keeps it so it's good. If you guys aren't aware, if you don't kill Marge before she runs away, it goes from like, cool, this is a fun fight, to wow, we're playing hide and seek, with a big spider lady because she does not like to be found at all.
Yeah. And you have to judge by sound on where she's gonna be.
It's not fun.
It's a situation where if Marge starts going wild, it's almost always faster to just reset and do the fight again than it is to try and rescue it.
Yeah, because you'll probably run out of ammo, and chances are you're gonna have to do a knife fight with Marge, and nobody wants to do a knife fight with Marge, so just retry, do it again, see where it lands you, and cheap shot.
That guy always cheap shots. Unfortunately, I had to use my heal early because I lit myself on fire. But shouldn't be the end of the world. We'll make a safety save. We were going to anyways, and there is a heal that we can pick up, which we will pick up to kind of circumvent that damage. So it's going to be... The only downside right now is we actually have 0 shotgun shells, which means when they say he don't miss, I really hope that's true coming up in about 5 minutes when I have to shoot 3 different crawlers with this pea shooter that I have here and hope I hit them in the head, because if I do not click their head, they will survive and they will kill me, because the most dangerous enemy in this game, no doubt in my mind, is the crawlers on Madhouse. It's just simply, hey, this guy looks appetizing.
They are quite brutal, the crawlers. Thankfully, we don't have to deal with them too much, and for the most part, they are a shot to the head and they're done. But if they do catch you slipping, they will be hitting. It's not great, it's not fun, it's not ideal, but Zeke's got this. You don't miss.
Yeah. You truly don't.
I'm gonna make a save real quick.
Yeah, safety save for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I was like gambling on something here. We'll just eat this. Okay. Just to make sure, in the event that we get cheap shot, we don't die instantly. However, I don't think that really matters. We have red on our screen. If we get cheap shot, it's in God's hands, guys. It's not in my hands.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting because the FPS obviously helps with axe hits and stuff like that, but it also helps enemies get easier multi-hits off on you. So, you know, we want to be running at a high FPS for fast reasons, but it does make it more likely, at least it seems that way, for enemies to hit us. So we're just going to phase through this dude. This dude's never a threat, right?
Yeah. For the most part, you just switch to 30 FPS, squeeze by him, switch back to variable, and yeah, that guy is history. That's probably the easiest crawler you'll have to deal with in Madhouse.
Yeah.
Grab that little health, so you get don't have to deal with less health, obviously. Yeah. We have another crawler coming up here.
Yeah, the crawler coming up here is...
Yeah. He's a toss-up. If he is too far away in the hallway, it's going to be a little bit of an issue, but if he comes in right like that,
perfect.
We're good.
Nice.
There we go.
Yeah, it can't be understated how fast the enemies are in Madhouse, where, like, you know, if Zeke didn't react within a moment there, it would have been in our face. It would have been all over. It would have been kind of a big problem.
Very tragic.
Yeah.
Just the proper terminology to use there. It would have been so sad.
Yeah, so yeah, Madhouse is definitely the most volatile sort of category because even when you think you're good, you're at near full health, you're like, oh, we're on our way out of main house, we don't have that much more to go, I don't need to save, I don't need to worry about heals. That's when you know, a molded spawns out of position or gets behind a door in a weird way and cheap shots you.
And also, you saw Zeke do a puzzle there. So that puzzle is necessary. This game is very heavily scripted. So the out of bounds that was done earlier actually skips that puzzle to get the red key card early. However, the game still needs you to do that puzzle. Otherwise, the game will hard lock. It won't allow you to continue. And basically, it's just, it doesn't work. So that puzzle is basically a requirement. All puzzles are essentially a requirement except for a varying few. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of focus is required, which is I'm very thankful my commentators are able to talk because I'm not during these parts of the game. Like when I go from old house to here, it's very, very easy to just die. And right here is another very easy place to die. As much as I'd love to use my shotgun for this, I simply can't afford to. So we're gonna have to do what I just did to that crawler twice now to 2 crawlers. And let's really hope I don't miss.
Yeah. So we got the first crawlet. Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Hold on 1 second. We do this safe.
Yeah, so that despawns. Going into the trailer actually despawns those crawlers, which is really nice to have, especially right there, because those crawlers can cause a lot of issues if you don't deal with them quickly.
The first crawler attacked early. So I like there's a lineup I do where I walk to his head where me and him meet head on, except he walked to the right and just hit early. Kind of what Niddle was just talking about a second ago when a molded is out of place. It just threw the whole thing off. And the other molded ran to my right, which he normally runs to me head on. So everything there was no way I don't die there. So I just into the trailer, out of the trailer, don't mess with it. I'd rather do that than die.
Safe, better, safety first. Better safe than sorry.
And now Lucas, TV skip?
Yeah, this is now the official next checkpoint of the game. Before the checkpoint was at the dinner scene with the bakers. Now this is the cutscene that we would have to go back to if Zeke were to die later on in the run. I'm sure that won't happen. We got safety saves. But this would be the checkpoint you would come back to if you die before the boat section or before Jack 3.
Yeah, this it's brutal. They really made it very obvious here. That's what that warning was before I started Madhouse. Is like there's no checkpoints basically. They're basically like, yeah, the dev team forgot to put checkpoints in, deal with it. So this is what Madhouse is, right? And it's not necessarily that it's they did it on purpose because they know the game is a little linear and they knew that once you played it casually on normal or easy, you would know where to go on Madhouse. That's why things are changed a little bit. And why it seems like there's not that much time between the dinner table and here when we're speedrunning. But trust me, it is. It's nearly like 30 minutes or something. Kind of a pain if you die. So that's why we have this one checkpoint. But after this, the game doesn't slow down. We should have mentioned that once we finished Guest House, the game never slows down. It doesn't stop until we get to like tape a little bit until the end of the game. But then it picks back up really fast again right at the very end. So the game kind of gets hectic, especially this next area we're about to get into, and the next bosses we're about to do, especially, the Fat Molded fight is different on Madhouse, Jack 3 is incredibly complex on Madhouse, and then Salt Mines, all this fun stuff you're going to see later. So let's, again, hope I don't miss, because I have to shoot a bunch of bombs now.
He just won't miss.
You don't. Yeah. So coming into Boom Boom Room, this is pretty similar to how you would do it on other categories.
Except for an additional bomb.
Yeah, except for the extra bomb. So basically, you're going to see Zeke come in here. He's just going to line himself up to shoot all these bombs. Walking into one of these bombs head on is an instant death. Like, period. There's no real way around it. If you don't block and you walk into one of those bombs, that's it. You're dead.
Yeah.
So, picked up was that a chem fluid from that box?
Yes, actually. Mm-hmm. Which is good.
Yeah.
Stops us from having to get another one later, so we'll take it.
Nice.
Yeah, thankfully Ethan here is kind of the Terminator when it comes to bombs, though, and especially when it comes to blocking bombs. I don't know how he does it. Still takes a little bit of damage, but it definitely negates the damage the full damage that you would take if you were to hit the bomb without blocking, so... Always good to put the hands up.
We put some items away there. Primarily, we put away the two keys we'll never use again. And we put away the crank and the arm in a specific order, and we put away one lockpick. It was all intentional for when we pull stuff out later. We needed it to be in a certain order. And we just don't need those on us, because we're actually going to have to get rid of all of our items soon, after this fight coming up.
Yeah. So Lucas is he fancies himself a jigsaw. He has us do this little, obstacle combat course, and then he's going to have us do a little escape room. Ooh, did that guy not?
Oh, wait, hold on 1 second. This could be very bad.
There is a room here, so thankfully there is a save room here, so we can just do a quick safety save before we deal with the next boss. The next boss is going to be two big moldeds. They're not too rough, but there is a bit of a quickness that you have to go with them during a newer round, and some shotgun shots and a few G17 shots to the head. But it's going to be very quick.
Yeah, also, just for anybody curious, the four-legged did not die when he was shot. So he was still behind him, and he did, like, attack once he had gotten up the stairs, but fortunately wasn't in range.
Yeah, that could be very spooky. I had to listen to see if he was closer, because I would have to flick around to stop him from killing me. But all good in the hood. Let's hope this goes well.
Yeah, so in easy difficulty, there is one large lad in the elevator. In Madhouse, we get one large lad and then a kind of slightly smaller large lad. There's a little size difference. The game plan here is going to be a neuro round, which stuns them completely. 4 shotgun shots, and then a couple handgun with enhanced ammo to finish the job. It's not too bad of a fight. They do have a vomit attack that Zeke has to avoid. The vomit really hurts, and it kind of like stun locks you, so you can go from full health to dead very, very fast from the vomit.
Yeah.
But yeah, great fight.
That was a good fight. Nice.
Yeah, it went pretty well. As you can see, that it's not supposed to happen. But that second one on the right ran at me. Sometimes he'll just do that. We don't really know why. It can be very bad. Sometimes he just sprints out and just like, because the fat molded specifically have an attack where they charge at you and they run their body into you. If he does that and my neuro round hits him, it will also hit me. And then it's just off the rails and I have to like, I don't know.
And you can die to your own grenade shots. It's not great. So you don't want to be too close because it does do quite a lot of damage if you get hit by your own grenade shot.
Oh yeah. And it's just so embarrassing more than anything else.
It's so
Oh yeah, it's the worst. Like not too long ago, I did a run and I was too close. I threw the neuro round and I died. And I was like, well, that happened.
Yeah, definitely painful. But now this is like a tiny little break we get during the Lucas cutscene interaction. No, this is the Lucas escape room. All right, hold on. That's the hag from Resident Evil Village. Shout out to Niddle for finding that. For those who don't know, the hag in RE Village, that's her right there.
She's the water stain.
Yeah, the water stain.
Very early appearance. Also, fun fact. I like to put this fact out there. If you pause the game, all the options spell out, like the first letter of each option spells out Rose. So that's cool. And it's 4 options. And she was split up into 4 jars. Oh, very cool. I like the little seeds they plot in there.
All right, so the code here is Lappy. Or wait, no, it's Loppy. No, it's definitely Lospy.
Loopy? Lospy. Yeah.
Lucy?
No, it's Luzy. No,
Lucy.
Luzek?
Oh, it's Loser.
Oh, it's Loser. Oh.
Come on, guys.
Loser.
Yeah, so the codes, we know them all. We don't have to actually do any of the actual puzzle stuff. The idea of this is earlier you would have played a tape where you played as Clancy, I believe. And you would basically do this whole puzzle, except you would fall for the bait and you would die to an explosion. But we know all this already. We know that password is Loser, and we know where the candle is, how to light it, and everything like that. So we don't care about any of that. We just go straight through it and we speedrun the escape room, basically.
Yeah, this part is pretty mellow for the most part. This section is the same as any other category between easy, madhouse, normal, you name it. It's all the same. So you pretty much just point A to point B. Nothing's RNG, so you don't have to worry about anything like that. So this is like the cool down section for Madhouse.
Yeah, and now we wait for this to explode. Can't be too close or else it hits us.
But we can be astonishingly close, and since Ethan is just an impenetrable fortress, he doesn't really care. So by sprinting through there,
Terminator, I'm telling you.
Yeah, he really is. We avoid a little coughing animation since we just run through there, which slows you down. And we grab all of our stuff out of the item box. We are on our way to Jack 3.
Yeah, Jack 3. I also would like to note, you probably noticed that Zeke goes through his inventory in the item boxes very, very quickly, and that's all thanks to double binding. Double binding in this game is actually quite strong, especially for item boxes when you need to get everything out really fast. Just confirm on 2 keys and brrr, you're done.
Yeah, it's really fast, super beneficial. those item boxes, everything is set up intentionally, so I know where everything is now. It might look like I'm just pulling all my items out, and like maybe casually you'd be like, how do you know where anything is? I know exactly where everything is now. I know that if I go 2 spots to the left, I'm going to use a lockpick going into that room shortly. And I do that on purpose just to make sure I'm being as optimal as I can. And also, cool.
Nice.
Oh, there we go.
That fella is a
You don't
pain.
miss.
We're gonna make a save before breaking these boxes also, because we don't have very much shotgun ammo. And we get to do Jack 3, which is
We have so
Yeah,
much.
3
shotgun
whole
ammo. What are you
shotgun.
talking about?
Oh no, what happened?
the video game happened.
Yeah, RE7 happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, safety save. Well, especially like the safety save here isn't really going to matter too much. It's more for the item boxes here that we're going to be going through. But Jack 3, thankfully, the checkpoint is right before the fight. So you don't have to worry if you die in Jack 3. If you die, you just redo the fight from the beginning of it, which is super nice because Jack can be quite painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This fight is it's interesting. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. I obviously won't be able to talk during it, as I have not been able to during all the fights because they just so much going on. A lot of weapon swapping, a lot of precision and avoiding iframes. I'll get that joke out of the way now, so you guys are aware. There are a lot of iframes. So a lot of this is going to require me to focus. So wish me luck.
Yeah.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah, so Jack has 8 eyeballs. Jack is about to make an appearance, and we're going to try and deal with the eyeballs in a pretty specific order. There's some manipulation that Zeke's going to need to do, and oh yeah, the iframes on these eyeballs are actually
So
insane.
many iframes.
Like no joke, it's actually a big problem.
Yeah, we're not just making the joke for haha, it's funny. No, the
It really
iframes
is.
are a thing.
So he's going to start off with a flame round to the face and then go straight into the shotgun to the eye, enhanced ammo to pop the face eye. He's going to wait up here for Jack to climb back up. And then he's going to do shotgun and pistol on the arm. He's going to wait for Jack to start vomiting before he drops. He's all the while he's reloading, keeping everything stocked, and also firing a flame round into him. So Jack does his vomit. We drop. We do the flame round to the belly. I think it's 2 to the belly, yeah. And then we do 4 or 5 pistol shots to the tail eye with enhanced ammo. So there those go. Nice.
There you go.
Then we're going to do a neuro round after that flame round to the tail. And then immediately pop the arm eye. I think that popped, right?
Yeah, that pops.
And then just kind of wrap it up. Go around and finish the last 2 eyes that we didn't hit yet. Boom, boom. And that's it. That's Jack 3.
Yeah, that's the first. Well, that's the first phase of
Yeah,
Jack
right.
3, technically. Usually the fight's pretty much done after this, but Zeke's going to be doing a few quick successions of the round here with shotgun and G17. There we go. And
Nice.
that's Jack 3. There we go.
Very good, dude. Huge.
Sheesh.
Yeah, so far, Jack's been really nice.
Yeah.
There is so
Thank you,
much
Jack.
happening in that fight. Like, even with notes, it's really hard to keep up with how fast you're going, dude.
Yeah, that fight it's very easy to mess up and very easy for Jack to just not cooperate. So yeah, that went really, really well. It's very hectic, but now that's the end of basically the first half of the game. Now we're gonna be going into Mia. And Mia's section is, well, we can all agree, it's not really the most enthralling part of the game. However, on Madhouse, it's a little bit of a different story, especially for the ship tape.
Oh yeah,
boy.
there's a common theme between the categories, especially in like easy, where on ship and tape, back in the day, they actually used to be the freest part of the game, where we didn't have to do anything before we found certain skips and certain things that were required. Like the Allen 1 skip you'll see, Allen 2 skip, which you will not see, and then a molded elevator interaction. So it's gotten complicated on easy, but on Madhouse, it's always been involved. The problem is we're playing New Game Easy, which not easy, New Game Madhouse, which means we don't have anything. They actually give us nothing. They give us a gun, quote unquote, glorified BB gun, which actually doesn't do anything for us, and then a couple bombs we have to pick up. So we're basically running around a lot of molded, which means, like we talked about earlier, cheap shots, right? It's cheap shot city, where dying is so incredibly likely if it's not played perfectly. So yeah. That stuff was hard, which it was. Now we have another exciting part where I could die. Thankfully, there are more checkpoints at this part of the game because they knew that. They knew that you would die here. Hopefully I don't.
Yeah.
If I don't, that's a great sign.
Yeah, and for those who are probably wondering, the game does give you a choice between Mia and Zoe. Mia's she's just faster. If you were to pick Zoe, it gives you an extra boss fight, some extra nonsense, basically a lot of talking, and it just adds, I think, what is it? Like, it's like something
like
ridiculous.
Like
it's
like a minute.
Yeah, something like that.
On Madhouse, it's even more.
I think it's like it's like a minute from It's like a minute from the cutscene that you have to watch where Mia basically gets upset because you didn't choose her since she is our wife, and then it's another however long it takes for you to actually kill her with a crowbar, which in Madhouse would be kind of a big problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just pick Mia every single time for obvious reasons. And even if you were between the choices, there's not really much of a difference story-wise. It's more or less the same. You're still going to be playing as Mia. You're still going to be going through till you get to Ethan.
Yeah.
The only thing that really changes is, like I said, with the conversation, the boss fight, and then you get a different ending. But the ending isn't really much different. You throw a phone off the plane. Oh, I guess I'll just forget about my wife.
Yeah. He goes, poor wife, and then he yeets his iPhone out of the helicopter.
He gets to get a new one, installs Tinder on it, and he goes forward. That's just how it works, right? Like, that's just the end of it, and
It's
basically just how it ends. It's a non-canon
And then Village
ending.
never happens.
Yeah, exactly. If you save Zoe, congratulations, Village never happened. But non-canon ending versus canon, which is we save Mia Winters, and now we get to play as her. So this is very exciting. Very much looking forward to the tape. You can tell by the smile on my face. I'm really, really looking forward to the tape.
You are gonna do great.
I mean, I will say, so in the easy, this whole section is a bit of like it's a big change in pace. We're not really shooting stuff. We're not really doing anything super cool. In Madhouse, it's like every corner has a potential peril, and since we have to pick up some extra items, we end up going into certain areas that in an easy run we wouldn't normally have to. So some of the molded end up becoming a bigger problem in this difficulty, and they're lightning quick too. So yeah. Big lore dump section is what this is.
Yeah, it's a lot of point A to point B. There's not, like, if you're on a casual playthrough, a lot of people don't usually really enjoy this section just because it is quite a lore dump and it doesn't really give a whole ton to you other than lore. But during a speedrun nowadays, it's so much more to think about, especially just for ship tape in general. Even on easy, ship used to be I made it to ship. Awesome, this is a PB. Perfect. Now it's, oh no, ships happening. Okay.
Yeah, it is rough when the skips started to get found. I mean, it's great, saves time, and they're pretty gargantuan, like, saves. They're not small.
Yeah.
They're very noticeable. One is Alan 1, which the premise of both of the skips is to skip a call with a dude we don't want to talk to. And the first one is very movement based and kind of specific and really hard to do very fast. The second one is Alan 2, which requires hitting yourself with a bomb. We will not be doing that here. We do not want to hit ourselves with a bomb. As fun as it would be, it's only like on new game categories, it saves less time because of the walking shoes. So it would not save me very much time. Actually, it would lose me a lot of time because I would die every single time after doing it. So it's just not worth doing on New Game Madhouse.
Yeah, it's really just not a risk worth taking. Although it is a really cool skip because you do get to see Evie kind of roll away.
Oh yeah, the moonwalk. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's like stuck in a single pose and just kind of rolls away to her next location that she needs to be at. But usually we wouldn't see that, so it's just very funny. But on Madhouse, for obvious reasons of damage and not wanting to be in critical, we just avoid it.
Yeah.
but there's still some massive time saves within the ship that you can do on both easy and Madhouse, which is amazing. Especially Alan one, because nobody wants to listen to Alan talk for 17 seconds. Absolutely not.
At all exciting in any conceivable way. So skipping Alan is going to be great, and there's a little bit of setup we do before the tape here, which is we're going to grab a couple things, hopefully not get cheap shot by the one molded we interact with before the tape. If he does cheap shot us, it's actually not that bad. It's just not ideal. But if he cheap shots us, it's going to make after the tape a little more annoying because we've been hit. But it shouldn't detriment us unless he one shots us, in which case better luck next life, I guess, because there's not much you can really do about it.
Yeah, and one thing with Mia is when she's in critical for a while, and it's really not ideal. Usually, for the most part, there's kind of a bit of healing items and safety around it. But yeah, specifically for ship tape, if you get into critical, it's just not a good time. It's a lot more stressful.
Yeah.
But
should
you
mention,
just don't miss.
You heal up from critical, but while you're in critical, you walk very slowly, which makes things super dangerous. And then, as Kat was saying, in this section, for some reason, there's a few spots where Mia won't start auto healing until you like get to the next map. So later on, there's a part where it's basically if you're at critical, you're done because you're gonna get caught up too by the many molded.
Yeah.
But we didn't get cheap shot. We're chilling. We're cruising.
It's definitely very spooky. I will say, just yesterday, I did break this record, and in this very section, the game turned it on in terms of molded cheap shotting, and I don't know how I managed to pull it off, but I like being in critical, like you're saying, loses a lot of time. So it's like scary. The molded are faster than you are. Even not in critical, they're faster than you are. So it's super spooky. There's a specific section of tape. You'll know what we're talking about when we say it gets terrifying, because it really genuinely gets spooky. It's like, you imagine there's going to be a lot of molded in a very small place, and you have to go through them, and you only have bombs. So it's not much you can really do about it. But here's Alan. We hate this guy. I mean, we love this guy. We actually hate this guy.
We hate and love him because he doesn't really add much in terms of value for the run. He's just kind of here to send us on our next mission, I guess you would say. He sends us off to take this to EV and figure things out. But all he's really here for is just to talk to us.
Alan actually is such a minor character that they got his name wrong in the credits. His name in the documents is Alan Droney, but in the credits it's Alan Douglas. So that's just to show you how little Capcom cared about this dude. They literally messed his name up in the credits. So,
all right, I'm gonna do Alan 1 real quick. Hopefully,
you got this.
All right. So basically, Zeke's going to be going into this room and interacting with the vomit on the floor here, or like the whooshy stuff, and basically interact with it as fast as possible while turning around. And that causes you to skip the entire 17-second phone call that you would normally have with Alan. If you were to mess it up, you still have to go through the phone call, and it wastes a lot of time for obvious reasons.
Yeah, you can't open the door while you're in the phone call, so you would just be stuck sitting there at the door, regretting all your life decisions, wondering why you're listening to Alan.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the phone call of shame if you get it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Hopefully this molded decides. Get out of the elevator! Ah! Oh boy!
Okay, well,
my goodness, dude.
That cheap shot is so bad.
Oh, that was nasty.
Yeah, so you may have noticed the molded like turned himself inside out just to turn around and cheap shot him. Like he was completely facing the door, and he just kind of flipped.
Yeah, the molded will do that. And that is why they are called cheap shots, because they are very cheap on how they go about hitting you. It's not a good time.
Yeah, this is one of the roughest sections of the run. It's just very close quarters. We don't have a lot of supplies. We have basically no heals.
We can't save.
Yeah, no save. You just have to rely on the checkpoint.
Oh, another one, dude.
We got another cheap shot there.
Okay, basically what I'm gonna have to do here Unfortunately, that box right there looks really appealing, but I hate to break it to everyone, but it only ever drops a chem fluid. So I don't think it can drop a heal, but we're just gonna do something real quick out of safety, just for the sake of testing. Heal? Unlucky.
On the fly.
I do a check to see if it would give us a heal. Okay, I'm gonna have to be a little creative with how I go through this hallway coming up in a moment because, yeah, it's getting cheap shot the way that I did in the elevator twice put me into critical, and I had to use the heal before critical ended, so I didn't actually get the full effect of it. And we have to run past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 coming up in a second. So I'm gonna need to see everyone in the chat to really pray right now that
everybody get your best blesses
we need to be praying
now.
Pretty hardcore right now.
Yeah, this second half of the ship tape is probably one of the most stressful parts because there's just so many moldeds that get thrown at you with very little supplies, very little time, and they're very quick. So we're going to be placing down the bombs here to essentially help get past these enemies. Thankfully, bless the 30 FPS because otherwise that would have been a pain in the butt. But we got through it, closing the doors, and now we're going to be getting to the last part here with a few more molded. The bombs here are definitely going to help, so hopefully they don't give us any cheap shots. 30 FPS, going down to 60, 30 FPS. There we go. I was like, wait, it's 60. All right, wait for them to get up so that way it hits them. Oh, unfortunately, that one did not get affected by it, but that's fine. 30 FPS helps us get through. Now we're just waiting for the elevator, which can be quite stressful considering the molded are still going to be chasing you. But overall, that was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
We're good.
We're sitting pretty right now. That is. Get some claps and some hype in the chat
nice,
right
dude.
now for that because that was solid. That
Still-
part is no joke. I
Still
swear
one
it
more
is.
Yeah.
kind of problem, dude, coming up.
Still one more problem. We're still on the very,
We
very
need
last end
this
of
guy.
it. But
We really need this guy to not hit us through our block because he will multi-hit through block. So, oh my god, I hate this guy so much. Might have to flick on his head here and hope it saves me.
all right, yeah, this guy can be quite problematic. Holding our breath because he can still hit us while we're going through the hole here. And hopefully that doesn't happen.
God.
We're good.
Oh
there
my
we go.
gosh.
Jesus,
Woo!
man.
All right.
Everybody, you can breathe
Oh
now.
my god.
Yeah. We can now relax.
Oh, man.
It is all good. We got through the ship tape. Good job, Zeke.
Well done, dude. Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No deaths. You know, that is something that, you know, most people going through Madhouse runs will probably die there at least once or twice, if not 3 times. It's not an easy section whatsoever. Zeke makes it look easy, but I promise you, it is not. But very good job.
Yeah.
Even the parts where he's just kind of squeezing through dudes with the FPS swaps and stuff, he's being very mindful of like his lines and how he's positioned. Because if a molded decides to turn around as he's walking away, it like molded don't really care. They'll hit you from the back and just destroy your day. So that was huge, dude. That was nerve-wracking but huge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was spooky. Thankfully, we did not get hit. Like, the idea of me shooting that big arm molded in the head there is so he doesn't do that wind-up big arm attack that you saw him start to do. The reason for that is because that thing hits hard, and if it multi-hits you through your block, you die at anything under 600 health. You'll just die. So the reason I kind of tunneled his head there is to get him to not do it, and I ended up forcing myself to take a cheap shot, which is fine, because the cheap shot stopped me from getting actually hit, and I got away. So thankfully the backup worked there. And now we're out of that scary section. Now on to the other scary sections, because you can breathe right now, but you have a few minutes till you gotta have to hold your breath again.
At least we have a checkpoint
Yeah.
after this. So
Yeah,
we don't
thank
get sent
goodness.
back to the tape. That would just be cruel.
That part is definitely still the most stressful part of ship, at least with any category really, but there is still some little minor hiccups that can happen with Madhouse on the next ship section, especially since there are creepy crawly molded that like to double hit or cheap shot. It's not great. But we should be good. And the only skippable cutscene.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And it's the coolest looking one. It's kind of a shame.
Yeah, right?
And there it is. Sorry, guys. Think about this. The section we're about to do, and they kind of alluded that this was a mechanic they did earlier with like the derelict house footage tape that we skip, the Lucas birthday tape that we skip. It's because the game wants you to do the tape and then do it in real time. What we just did is something we're gonna, as funny as it sounds, we're gonna have to kind of do it again. Not as severe as that, but we're gonna have to go through kind of like that same route. But we're gonna have to pick up some key items first before we get there and interact with a few items. So we will hopefully have no issues. I mean, tape is significantly worse than post tape. Very, very much so. And the fact that the molded are much more condensed and there's just so much more of them and you have less heals. Whereas on this one, we'll have 3 heals to work with, whereas in that one, we had 2. And very thankful that I didn't die during that. And let's just hope it carries on through this before we get to, the next scary part again, which will be salt mines.
Oh God, salt mines. Salt mines is you'll see. You'll see in a bit. Yeah.
They say before Zeke got there, they were just mines.
And now they are the
now
salt
they're
mines.
just so unbelievably salty. I've lost many a run in there very recently because of how volatile.
All the tears of RE7 runners are in that salt mine. Salty tears all around.
So yeah, just kind of coming around. They sort of like allude to where you have to go during the tape section. So we're sort of retracing our steps a little bit. You'll recognize a few of the rooms. The only difference is now we have a whole host of new dudes spawning in these areas. So there's a big vomit lad around the corner.
Yeah, 60 FPS.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a couple settings in combination that break the fat molded. One of them is effects rendering, being on low. And your
shoutouts to
Maxi Lobes, and your FPS being at 60 will cause a lot of it to miss. Not all the time, but specifically for that dude, that guy does miss.
Yeah,
It's really weird because on variable FPS going by that molded, he always hits you no matter what. But if you're on 60, he never hits you. It blows my mind, but we take what we can get.
Yeah. Definitely good we have that there, because that's actually to be significantly more painful if we did not have that. Also, this is the hardest boss in the game right here. 1 second. Oh, huge, easy. Okay,
the
great.
ledge.
Ooh, ledge boss.
Nice.
There's a running meme with certain games, 7 in Village specifically, where sometimes Ethan he's just terrified, absolutely shaken to his core to climb up certain ledges, and we don't know why. He just kind of stands there and he will not go up. It sounds like it's kind of a silly thing, maybe lose a second to it, but I will let you know I have lost a world record to that ledge, and you never really get over that. I'll be honest with you guys. It kind of sits in your mind forever.
Just would you say it makes you salty?
It does.
So we're gonna grab an item here, and while we're waiting for the animation to finish, there's actually a molded and a fat molded kind of doing their thing.
Ooh, yeah, the big molded in this game are insanely fast, and
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. They will come up behind you very quickly. It's almost as if they were jack speed of quickness. But no, if they, especially since they have the puke as well, it can go very long range. So it might seem like they're not that far behind you, but if that puke hits you, it's not fun.
Yeah, they do also have an insta-kill animation where they'll just grab you and it's over. Like as soon as the animation starts, you're
They
dead.
also have this weird cowboy animation where they put you on the ground and sit on your lap. Oh my.
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, that animation. Yeah, it's rare, but
I forgot to hit the button in the elevator.
When it happens, you gotta
saw.
sit there in pain a little
Never
bit.
actually forgotten to hit the button in my life. I don't know why I forgot to hit the button, but I was waiting for the elevator music.
World record holder, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Gotta take the elevator down.
Ooh, be nice, be nice. Yeah, so this part here is the final little bit of the boat section where we have to go through a gauntlet of enemies again. Thankfully, it's not as bad as the ship tape, but it still has some pretty scary moments. Especially that molded can be a little bit of a body block, but very nice. You got through all that.
Did you get to keep a heal?
I got to keep 2. Actually, I got the big heal and the small one, so it's actually really good. The thing about that area, they kind of set us off on like how cheap shots work. Is I'm pretty sure they work on a cycle, where 2 molded back to back won't cheap shot you usually if it's the same type of molded. Like a normal molded won't cheap shot if another molded has, or a crawler won't if another crawler has. Kind of like that. So that dude cheap shotting me earlier kind of put them all on that cycle, which means I got to walk by without getting too owned, thankfully. But that's not an absolute. If you hang around molded for too long, they will still hit you and cheap shot you. They don't care. It's their game, not yours. So kind of how it works.
Yeah.
And now this cutscene.
That was a great ship, though.
Yeah, I think that ship we didn't die. That means it went well.
Yeah.
Like that's the bar. This cutscene, personally, my favorite cutscene in the whole game, because it's basically you come together, you're in the mind of the mold, you're connected to Evelyn, and the people who are still alive connected to Evelyn through the mold are also here. So Jack Baker is here, Zoe is here, and Ethan is here, right? Couple things,
And Marge
in spirit. Marge is actually the only person in this game who is dead. Well, that Deputy Shovel, but Marge is dead, and she's represented by the lantern. It was kind of like a small little bit they put in. They also forgot to render Jack's body, as you can see in the shadow, so it's just a floating head with arms. It's kind of weird. Jack Baker's still alive. This gets explained further as you play the end of Zoe DLC. That's where Jack canonically dies. Zoe is still alive, but she's still controlled by Evelyn. Mia is not here because she's alive and she is not controlled by Evelyn anymore until after this cutscene. Ethan is here because he's still under the influence of Evelyn. So it's kind of the explanation of like why they kind of tied all this here and why it all makes sense, like why they're all still alive, why Marge isn't here, why Lucas isn't here. He was cured by the connections. He also is no longer under the influence of Evelyn. There's Jack's floating head. It looks so stupid.
Yeah.
But you play the game enough, you come to these conclusions.
Yeah, we're connected through the Mega Mycete, which kind of gets expanded on in Village, and there's like sort of a similar sort of end game cutscene where, without spoiling, where we get to see some people from this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Would highly recommend, if you haven't already, to play this game casually. Play the Not a Hero DLC, the End of Zoe DLC. Hell, play the Daughters DLC. All the DLC is great.
Oh, yeah.
And then play Village. Because the Village DLC comes out in 2 months, and it's all amazing gameplay. 7 and Village are just fantastic, amazing games. If like Ethan in Village is amazing as a character, everything is just perfect. So you should definitely play them if you haven't. Maybe don't speedrun New Game Madhouse. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a little stressful, but it's a little painful. I mean, do it if you want to. It is fun. I will say that I wouldn't run it if it wasn't fun, but it is very stressful. It definitely takes a couple of years off your lifespan, but if that's your thing, by all means.
Yeah. These games, especially 7 and 8, I feel like 7 is definitely, if you're looking into getting into speedrunning, 7 is probably the best example for a learning run. If you want to, because the skill ceiling is quite high, but you can learn everything pretty quickly. There's a good mixture of menuing, boss fights, movement, you name it, even like a few skips here and there. It just helps a lot with introducing you to different type of speedrun tech. So if you're looking into getting into a speedrun, 7 is a great place to start. If you're into the spooky games, that is, because I know not everybody is, but it is a great starter run.
Yeah.
And even 8 has some really good qualities about it that can make it a great starting run as well. But 7 is definitely my preference.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board with that. 7 is great. The community is great. A lot of people, the people you see me here, Kat and Niddle, were very active members in that community, and a lot of help was provided by us and all the people that run it, ZGL, Yasi, Marforia, all these people who put a lot of work into making the game as accessible as humanly possible. There's a lot of content, a lot of stuff you can use to learn the game. I said what I said about New Game Madhouse, but New Game Easy, New Game Plus Easy, even New Game Plus Madhouse, Knife Only, all these categories are incredibly fun and very, very new runner friendly. So we definitely recommend it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And they also have their own challenges. Like if you do want a challenge in your speedrun, the harder difficulties are there, and even getting like top 3 time, top if you want to shoot for world record. I mean, it's a challenge. It is very, very hard to get those times, but if you want the challenge, it's there. So it's nice for beginners and as well as intermediate runners.
Yeah.
All right, we're Ethan now.
we're back.
We're
We're back
Ethan now.
finally. And we're gonna do a big old item box excursion here, just to grab everything that we're gonna need on the way into the salt mines, which we're coming up on pretty stressful portion of the game. That's cheap shot,
these
though.
cheap shots.
Ooh, yeah.
What even was that?
Getting a little scary, so we want
Mother.
to try and get in this elevator before they get in, and unfortunately they decided to
There you
follow
go.
us.
This game.
Oh, that was
Oh
very
my god,
close.
this game is certainly. I
So
love this game.
the elevator doesn't work if there's anybody other than Ethan inside of it. It has a max occupancy of 1. So the button becomes inaccessible if there's a molded on the elevator. And as you saw, there was a molded on the elevator, which is like really the most dangerous thing that can happen. But we squeaked it out. We're good.
Yeah, that actually happened in practice just before this, and that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. That marathon look.
Yeah.
So you
Yep.
saw him shoot a bomb from far away, and then shotgun to quickly deal with that guy. So you're gonna
no
notice
cheap shots?
Zeke. Yeah, no cheap shots, fortunately. Zeke running past all these dudes. That's fine for now. The problem is these dudes are all gonna follow him, and they're gonna kind of congregate in this tunnel. We want them to sort of like pour out, so that way they get hit by this, which takes care of a majority of them, hopefully, theoretically.
I'm not seeing one, and it's making me a little nervous.
Sometimes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Okay, that's good.
That's good. We got one crawler, but that's fine. Sometimes they can. Ooh,
That guy,
okay.
I saw him out of the
Sometimes.
corner.
Nice shot, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes those molded can be coming up towards you while you're pushing the cart, which is like the worst feeling because you see them creeping towards you and you know you're going to have to deal with them immediately after pushing the cart. Yeah.
They can actually kill you while you're in the cart pushing
Yep.
animation, which is just like you're like, there's nothing I couldn't block even if I wanted to. So he's gonna make the serum now. He's gonna run over here, grab just a steroid. Steroids boost your max health by a little bit, and they also heal you back up to full. It's just definitely a marathon safe thing to do.
Yeah.
And we also have the 2 heals. So Zeke's actually in pretty good shape coming up here.
We will still make a safety
doesn't-
save.
Yeah, doesn't
safety
make it any
saves are
less
a
scary.
necessity.
Yeah, this is like really kind of crunch time.
Just gotta do math on this shotgun ammo. I have 11. 1, 2,
Quick
3,
math.
4, 5. Yeah, we're good. Okay. I had to do the math. Make sure I'm not exploding too much.
Nice.
Salt mines
Nice.
is about to be nice. Okay, so salt mines is a lot of stuff happens very fast. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be the one talking about it, so that's all you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So salt mines. There's going to be a lot of dudes spawning. Similar to the other section, the big problem is going to be that they're going to continue to follow us the whole time. A little cheap shot as that dude was spawning. And the name of the game here is shotgun. The shotgun is super strong.
Shotgun and just a lot of headshots. Headshots do the most damage for obvious reasons, and it gets them out of the way so they don't keep following. Sometimes shotgun shells to the head don't exactly kill them, so it can be a little bit of a problem. But thankfully, they're all cooperating right now. This crawler,
Nice.
we're good. So Zeke was able to make an enemy not spawn there, which is super nice. Usually, there's an enemy that spawns right at the base of those stairs, but thankfully, they weren't a problem. And a little quick 30 FPS strat to squeeze by this molded real quick, and there we go.
Yeah.
Through like the gauntlet of enemies, and now we deal with the 2 big boy moldeds. So Zeke's gonna be throwing a grenade over to that wall there, which destroys 3 bombs, hopefully, crossing our fingers.
Yeah.
And then once all the bombs are confirmed done,
Nice.
he's gonna be using a neuro round to get these guys frozen in place while going up the ladder, because if you don't do that before going up the ladder, it will cause them to vomit on you, and that will hit you, and that will knock you off the ladder, which means you have to do it again. So yeah, that was really good.
Clean. That actually went
Let's
perfectly.
go, man. Really nice.
Yeah, the runner. Somebody asked in chat who has the world record. You are looking at the world record holder right now.
Not only for this category, but for pretty much all
Like
of
pretty
them.
much everything. Yeah.
Yeah. we're at a point where it's easier to name the records that Zeke doesn't have than it is because you know, you look at the RE7 leaderboard, you're gonna see his name. So coming into the final section of the game, awesome, man.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, we're coming up on the final part.
That
here.
salt
Back
mines.
to guest house.
Yeah, we're back. We never leave. That salt mines was actually a lot of. I put a lot of work into making salt mines not bad. It still is pretty bad, but that route you saw me take in salt mines actually took me like I sat for like 8 hours like 5 days ago, figuring out how to make that better because that fat mold at the end would body block you, and because the 2 molds at the end would stop you so frequently. I came to the conclusion that we knew that if there's too many molded spawned on a map at one time, it will start to exclude spawns. We know this because of what happens before Jack 3. Molded won't spawn if too many molded are active. It happens there too. Works on all difficulties. So the first molded I shot in the leg, kept him alive intentionally so that the molded after the crawler didn't drop from the ceiling, saving us a shot, saving us some safety, really. And then that shot on the fat molded was able to be done because I had an extra bullet and we got to go around pretty fast.
Yeah.
Also, the fat molded at the end, the strat there is extremely precise, and getting them to kind of go the right way is sort of like up to fate more than anything else, because sometimes they split up and they try to vomit at you from a range, and then it's like that fight just goes super sideways, and there really isn't a backup. You have one neuro shot and that's it.
Yeah, unfortunately on New Game, you're very limited on what you can do, so you really want them to be close together.
Yeah.
And now we're coming up to the final boss with Evie here. She does a little bit of a pushback here. You kind of just have to block it until you get close to her. On easy, there's actually a way to just block one and go up to her and get basically warped over to her. But on Madhouse, she tends to have more of a frequency when it comes to exploding. So we kind of have to be a bit more safe.
And Evelyn was grandma the whole time. What?
Old man Jenkins.
Old man Jenkins.
Oh my god!
Would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids.
And your very strange hairdo.
Yeah. Bad hair day. I mean, I sympathize, dude.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Why do you guys think I'm wearing a
bones.
hat right now, man? Like, I got Evelyn hair going on. This Evelyn fight, very quick, very self-explanatory. This one is actually very easy. We are going to shoot 1 fire round and then dump 2 shotgun and 10 pistol shots into her. This fight is time gated. As soon as I learn how to shoot my gun. Oh my god, okay. Basically, Evelyn, I did that still as fast as I possibly can. The game locks Evelyn from dying until she moves forward the first time. If you bring her health to 0, by the time she moves, she'll phase. Every single category except for knife only can kill her this fast, and it's all the same. As long as you do the damage, she will die right there. And now we come up on the last actual parts of the game where we're going to kind of chill and take a nap on the ground. Ethan doesn't want to get up for some strange reason. So we're chilling.
He's just
We're going to reload our guns because we're going to need to basically wait for Evelyn to pick us up. And we have to do 2 shotgun, 2 pistol shots, or 3 pistol shots if you're unlucky enough, to let her drop us before we do the actual last part of the game where we kill Evelyn.
Yeah, time's gonna be coming up very, very soon, so get ready on that. But yeah, this fight's pretty much just sit and take it until she picks you up. The final boss on this it's not very intense. It's very underwhelming.
Bit of a set piece boss fight.
Yeah. It's more of just like, all right, just go ahead.
A little bit of a misclick there. Hold on.
Hold. Okay.
There we go.
And there we go. All right,
That's
we
so
don't have to worry
strange.
now. We're good.
She didn't scream when she dropped me. I wonder why.
That was a little. Huh. This game does some weird things, you know?
I thought I was dead, I'm not gonna lie, but we're good. All right.
I thought so too.
All right, and now we're gonna lift.
I was a little
No
concerned.
mouse, no movement. We just only left click because we don't miss, except for just that.
Mouse 1.
He don't miss.
He just don't miss. He don't miss.
Ooh.
He just
And we
don't miss. There it
the
is.
4th shot is what you want there. That is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard on New Game Madhouse. Thank you.
GG, dude.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
GG! And time will be coming when the screen turns to black.
As soon as it gets... She takes so long to die. We don't...
It's the most nerve-wracking thing when you're waiting for the time. I'm like, are we going to PB? Are we going to world record? What's going on?
All right, and
time. There it is.
GG, man.
I was I would say
Good job,
we died in guest house, but otherwise every boss fight went well. 135.40 for the IGT, which is normally how we time it, which is not bad honestly for like the death and all the safety saves. It's only 4 minutes slower than current world record, but that felt like a very good run. I really hope everyone enjoyed the run. I'll do a few shout outs. Obviously shout outs to my commentators, CaptainEzekiel and Niddle, two of my best friends. Did an amazing job. Thank you so much for coming on here with me and commentating when I couldn't speak because I was getting owned. I really do appreciate you guys for that.
Oh.
Oh, thank you for having us. At least for thank you for having me. I always love commentating RE7 runs. I know Niddle, you're in the same boat, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So just want to say if you're interested in learning the run, as Kat was talking about, and Zeke, really modular run. Get involved in the community. It's super fun. Make sure you're following CaptainEzekiel on Twitch. He is the hottest up and coming juicer in the speed run game. So show him some love, please.
Follow the man who just don't miss.
He don't miss.
Appreciate that. You guys can find me at twitch.tv/captain_Ezekiel. You can find Kat at twitch.tv/catlink and Niddle at twitch.tv/Niddle. They're also horror speedrunners, also both currently running RE7. Two different categories, though. I also want to quickly shout out the RE7 community, ZGL, Marforia, Yasi, the people who put a lot of effort. When I first started the game and teaching me and helping me get to this point where I'm at now, where all I do is sweat and play the same game for 4 years, really, really big fan of those guys and all the work that they did. But I really appreciate everyone. Thank you, Amberlyn, for letting me come on. It's a shame you'll never see me on this marathon specifically again. Goodbye forever on One-and-Done-athon, and I hope you guys enjoyed the run.
Thanks, Zeke. Yeah. Thank you for the run. I can't believe that people can legitimately clear New Game Madhouse that fast. I was astonished when you submitted that, and I was like, yeah, this has got to be it. So thank you very much for the run, but also goodbye forever. Wipe the name off the board, and on we go. So with that, everybody, regret to inform you that is the end of One-and-Done-athon Day 1. But stay tuned. Don't stay tuned. Come back. 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. We're kicking it off bright and early with new Super Luigi U by UVideo. That run is super precise, and what can I say except look forward to it and all the other banger runs that we have tomorrow. But that's all from us tonight, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.